Joseph Murphy taught for decades that material wealth is not a matter of luck, but the result of the dominant vibration that someone builds in their being. When Murphy researched families that faced prolonged monetary difficulties, he identified an intriguing yet unsettling pattern. These families bore, without being aware of it, an energetic frequency of economic restriction that maintained itself generation after generation, like a defective recording playing permanently the same pattern of lack. Murphy designated this mechanism as vibrational inheritance. He stated that every family possesses an emotional pattern related to finances, a resonance that passes on through attitudes, implicit values and reactions of the heart regarding financial difficulties. This inherited vibration acts like an invisible mechanism, establishing not only how much money an individual can acquire, but equally their deep relationship with wealth. Murphy realized that several of the monetary impediments that he noticed did not come from inability or bad fortune, but merely in the received pattern that any individual received from birth. This revelation fundamentally altered the mode that Murphy viewed financial transmutation. Preferring not to transmit simply ways to obtain income or investment systems, Murphy turned to something essential, changing the vibrational frequency relating to money that a person absorbed from their ancestors. Murphy reported impressive situations of clients who succeeded to overcome this inherited vibration, employing specific methods of cognitive reworking. One of these cases focused on an executive named Roberto, whose family group faced a continuous pattern of economic lack of success that prolonged itself over generations. His progenitor had suffered the loss of all his wealth in a catastrophic speculation. His progenitor had gone through bankrupt companies. And Roberto, albeit laboring in an obsessive way, perceived himself reproducing the same destructive pattern. Each time he was able to collect some significant amount of fortune, something occurred without apparent explanation, and the individual experienced the loss of everything. It seemed that there was an unseen power blocking his conscious efforts. Murphy worked with Roberto for months, revealing to him a central teaching that would be central in his complete doctrine. The hidden mind does not make a distinction between wealth you achieved and wealth your ancestors believed to be worthy. If in your essence resides the vibration that wealth is threatening, that prospering is risky, that monetary stability is deceptive or misleading, thus your unconscious mind will strive constantly to conserve you in this pattern because it appears to be the true reality. The unconscious does not doubt. It only executes the scripts that were fixed in your psyche through family history. Roberto finally grasped that he was not complacent or incapable. He was conditioned, and conditionings can be transformed. Murphy elucidated that when you transform the vibration that prevails in your being, you change the command that you communicate to your unconscious. It functions like reworking a computer that was operating with antiquated software which is defective. If the system is configured, capacitated to receive merely an exact quantity of resources, then it will constitute exactly what you will receive without considering how much you work. Murphy attested this mechanism via contemplative visualization systems that he had established for many years. He taught his patients to expend 5 to 10 minutes daily in the morning, preferably right upon waking, when the consciousness remains in a receptive alpha state, conjuring the image of not only the arrival of money in their existence, but primarily the internal living of stability, deep certainty, and recognition of merit that comes along with this arrival. Murphy insisted absolutely that this internal experience represented the fundamental key. It was not the money isolated that was relevant for the evolution. It constituted the vibration that the person instituted concerning resources. With Roberto, Murphy started a process that he identified as ancestral vibrational transmutation, a practice that he had refined through hundreds of successful cases. Roberto had to, for 60 days, dedicate a quarter of an hour each night when going to sleep in a deep, meditative state. In this special moment, Roberto should recognize consciously the total economic journey of his lineage. He should imagine his direct forebear going through the financial catastrophe, his parent confronting failed businesses, and all this ancestral lineage who came previously keeping resembling frequencies. Then mentally, Roberto should enunciate with real feeling, I admit the story of you all. I honor with reverence your suffering. I recognize the importance of the trajectory you tread and the adversities you experienced. Nevertheless now, in this sacred space, I abandon this frequency of lack from my being. I institute a new resonance for my family. From this moment on, in my existence, circulation of resources, prosperity and economic security represent the central pattern that rules my choices and my world. Murphy observed meticulously that when Roberto did this with genuine sincerity, with true emotional feeling that involved his whole being, something extraordinary began to happen in the external world. Roberto's financial situations began to reorganize subtly, but surely. An opportunity that Roberto would have previously rejected out of fear or mistrust came to be seen under a new, illuminated perspective. An old client returned with a substantial project. An unexpected scholarship for his daughter appeared at the exact moment when her education was a financial concern. None of this was coincidence, Murphy explained with conviction. It was simply the natural and inevitable consequence of an altered vibration. When you change your internal vibration, the entire universe needs to reorganize itself to correspond to this new frequency you have established. People, opportunities, resources, everything begins to align differently in your life. Murphy formulated a principle that he termed Law of Vibrational Correspondence, a truth that he had proven in hundreds of experiences. This axiom proclaims that the external circumstances always reflects exactly to the dominant internal reality. If inside you there exists with intense fear of economic insufficiency, then the external world will reveal incessantly experiences that validate this dread and confirm your limiting belief. If in your psyche prevails genuine security in your natural wealth, then the external circumstances will reveal perspectives that strengthen and cultivate this confidence. The most innovative point of this concept is that it works without considering your current situation or your past history. Someone who carries heavy debts, who transforms their predominant frequency to plenty, will start in a matter of weeks to identify slight transformations that are observable. These transformations are constantly discreet in the first moment, but are signs of a genuine transmutation. An unexpected expense is prevented inasmuch as you choose to avoid making an impulsive purchase. An occasion presents itself because you lived in better psychological climate to communicate with a significant person. Your total organism starts to pulse in a different frequency. Murphy had a special interest in the family aspect of this transformation because he had observed an extraordinary phenomenon repeatedly. When a person changes their vibration and manages to maintain this change for a sufficient period, the entire family dynamic begins to reorganize deeply. Children who were struggling financially begin to prosper unexpectedly. Parents who faced chronic difficulties find new solutions and paths. It is as if this person, by raising their own vibration, pulled the entire lineage to a new vibrational level. Murphy explained this as a principle of family resonance. When a musical instrument begins to vibrate at a specific frequency, all other nearby instruments naturally begin to vibrate at the same frequency, even without physical contact. Likewise, when you establish a vibration of prosperity within you, all those energetically linked to you naturally begin to enter into resonance with this elevated frequency you created. To establish this vibrational transformation that was stable and transforming, Murphy created a method divided into 3 phases that he believed totally necessary for success. The first phase is what Murphy called conscious ancestral recognition, and he reiterated that it was impossible to move forward without completing truly this first stage. In this step, you need to dedicate time sincerely welcoming the total economic journey of your lineage. This does not signify holding responsible your forebears or rebuffing them with negative frequency. It signifies uniquely perceiving with absolute clarity what they endured, the deep wounds that they lived through, the patterns that they established as a way of surviving in challenging periods. Murphy noted that various beings sought to disregard this uncomfortable narrative, tried to act as if there was nothing, and this blocked irreversibly the real transformation. It is absolutely impossible to free oneself from what you avoid consciously to recognize. Murphy instructed his patients to initiate this simple technique which is transformative. In the night period, ideally at bedtime when consciousness stays more open, sit in silence, in deep silence. Inhale and exhale deeply multiple times. And on the mental plane, think deeply on your forefathers. See the images of your predecessors. Accept the obstacles that they endured. Say in your mind with authenticity a statement like, I identify that you, my progenitor, passed traumatic losses that produced deep fear in your mind. I welcome that you, my progenitor, created survival patterns that were passed through generations. Murphy explained that this recognition is deeply healing on a spiritual and psychological level. By recognizing the story, you take this story out of the unconscious, where it operates silently controlling your actions, and bring it to the full light of consciousness. In this clear light, it loses the power to control you automatically. It ceases to be something that controls you like a puppet and becomes something you see with absolute clarity and can choose to transform. Murphy used to say with emphasis that nothing that remains unconscious can be truly transformed. Everything that is brought to consciousness can be worked on, can be dissolved, can be rewritten in a completely different way. This first stage should be practiced for at least 2 weeks every day with genuine emotion and complete attention. The second stage of Murphy's method is what he called declared vibrational disconnection, and he was absolutely clear about its critical importance. In this stage, after consciously recognizing the ancestral story, you must declare with authority that this vibration of limitation will no longer be the dominant force of your life. Murphy was not in favor of a vague or intellectual approach in this stage. He demanded genuine emotion, clear intention, and deep commitment, not just to the words but to real transformation. After recognition, still in your moment of silence at night, Murphy instructed his clients to place their hand over their heart and say with unshakable emotional firmness, I completely release the vibration of scarcity that was inherited through generations. I unlink my conscious mind from every pattern of financial limitation that belonged to my ancestors. I allow my soul to be the genuine and true origin of my prosperity and abundance. From this moment, the dominant vibration I establish and maintain is that of conscious abundance, genuine confidence, and unlimited flow. Murphy explained that this proclamation operates for, it forms a new authority in your being. You are not refusing your family or your trajectory. You are simply realizing your inalienable right as a thinking being who is autonomous to select a different vibration. Murphy had observed numerous cases evidenced where this proclamation, when realized with authentic emotive sincerity, created an energetic rupture so strong and transforming that observable transformations started in a matter of days. He maintained noted examples where beings described intense dreams and extraordinary ones in the moments subsequent to the affirmation. Dreams in which their ancestors gave the impression of to confirm this vibrational change with silent approval and energetic approval. Even though Murphy showed himself a scientific man who was precise in his general approach, he admitted that there existed events that escaped purely material logic and cerebral logic. The third stage is the one Murphy considered absolutely the heart and soul of the entire vibrational transformation. He called it continuous vibrational re-establishment, and it was in this stage that the real work of rewriting your financial reality happened. In this stage, you not only dissolve the old problematic vibration, but actively establish a new vibration that becomes your dominant pattern. Murphy was extremely specific and precise about how to do this to achieve real results. After the declaration of disconnection, still in their deep and receptive meditative state, Murphy instructed his clients to visualize a field of golden, luminous, and living energy completely enveloping their heart, radiating to their entire body. This field is not vague or abstract. It is real, intensely felt in the body, palpable like a transforming physical presence. Murphy frequently asked his clients to describe in precise detail how this golden field felt in their physical body. Some described gentle and comforting heat. Others described deep and enveloping safety. Still others described an extraordinary sensation of expansion and freedom. While he preserved this vivid visualization and lived, Murphy oriented with determination. Say in your mind with genuine conviction, "My dominant vibrational pattern now reveals itself as abundant consciousness. My physical being vibrates integrally with financial security. My subconscious mind establishes itself completely renewed, capacitated to receive with generosity, to earn completely, and to sustain indefinitely wealth. My field remains aligned entirely with opportunity, inexhaustible current, and infinite elevation. The lack that was bequeathed extinguished itself entirely permanently. The opulence that constitutes my innate spiritual right installs itself now as the permanent reality of my living." Murphy reiterated categorically that these affirmations must be expressed not automatically out of habit or in a shallow way, but with real intensity of feeling, with honesty that emanates from the being, as if you vibrated declaring the supreme truth and fundamental of your total being. Murphy observed that this third stage is exactly where most people faced significant difficulties in the process. They managed to do the first two stages with some success, but in the third stage the rational mind began to doubt and question. How can I say I am prosperous if I have significant debts? How can I say my vibration is abundance if my bank account tells another story of limitation? How can I declare what only my current reality denies? Murphy had a clear and transformative answer for this. He explained that the rational mind does not govern true reality. Vibration governs reality. The rational mind is merely a tool that describes retroactively what vibration has already created. If you want to change what the rational mind describes, you must first change the vibration at the root. Murphy used a potent and transformative metaphor. He said that vibration is like the root of a tree, and visible financial results are like the branches, leaves, and flowers. If you only look at the visible branches and try to change the tree by pruning the branches, you will never achieve real or lasting change. But if you change the fundamental root, the whole tree changes inevitably. Murphy suggested that this terminal stage be realized each day, without failures, for a term of 40 days in a row. He had designated this interval of 40 days since he had observed in diverse cases that it was justly the required interval for a new resonance to consolidate itself integrally as the predominant vibration in the deep field of the hidden psyche. The first two periods of a week are focused on establishment and fixation of the transformed energy. The new vibration still feels weak and temporary. It still disputes intensely with the old vibrations that try to persist. Between days 15 and 28, something essentially transforms and frees itself. The new resonance starts progressively to acquire true power, to experience more spontaneous and genuine, more fundamental to your core. Between days 29 and 40, the new vibrational pattern finally firms itself as the preponderant frequency that guides your choices. Ended 40 days of consistent practice and heartfelt practice, Murphy observed that his disciples told an emotional evolution so radical that it was apparent even to those outside. The dread that freezes in relation to money faded substantially until extinguishing itself. The emotional weight of evolving economically and welcoming disappeared completely. A security which was quiet, genuine, and firm in the future, abundance started to arise spontaneously from your core. Murphy had a particular and very effective method to help his clients maintain absolute consistency during these critical 40 days. He recommended they keep a simple and honest journal. Each night, after completing the full ritual of the 3 stages, they should briefly note what they felt and observed, not for heavy intellectual analysis, but simply to deepen the experience and root it. Murphy observed that when people recorded their experience in words, the practice became more concrete, more real, more irrefutable. He also recommended that during these 40 days of transformation, people be particularly attentive to the small signs of change that appeared. A small but significant opportunity that arose unexpectedly, an unexpected expense that was providentially avoided, a casual conversation with someone that led to an interesting and unexpected possibility. Murphy taught that vibrational change does not typically begin with spectacular and dramatic results. It begins, always, with small synchronicities indicating that vibration is genuinely changing at the deepest level. Murphy emphasized a fundamental point that various despised absolutely during their implementation. During these 40 days of disciplined execution, the practical actions likewise keep fundamental importance. The vibrational pattern establishes the necessary foundation, but you still lack to develop the bravery to act. If a chance appears along your journey, you have to possess the courage to take advantage of it authentically. If an inspiration appears concerning how to increase your income or to amplify your income sources, you have to be willing in putting it into practice with decision. Murphy referred to this as aligned action, and it configured itself totally indispensable. It is the action that sprouts spontaneously as your vibrational pattern has changed to fullness. This act is radically distinct from the desperate attitude grounded in dread. It is conduct that is confident, crystal clear, intuitive, and precise. Murphy identified that when those who sought him kept the adequate vibrational pattern and acted consistently in harmony with this vibrational pattern, the doors surged in manners that prior seemed totally unfeasible or close to miracle. The journey that the Professor Murphy provided was essentially a way of genuine emancipation and it did not constitute escapism from true obstacles. It signified meeting the real situation that you were programmed by inherited vibrational pattern and resolving consciously and with strength to transform this resonance totally. It characterized itself as admitting that you shelter extraordinary power not only to change your own life, but to modify the entire path and hereafter of all your family heritage. This comprehension forms authentic power in its truest form, not the power uniquely to conquer or to defeat opponents, but the real power to transform, to metamorphose vibrational pattern, to supersede ancestral restrictions. This knowledge, Murphy professed with unshakable conviction, is the real liberation which is economic and spiritual that each being searches for.